Howdy guys, I'm Leroy from Rack and Roll, or Rack and Ride if you're in the US. Today we're going to put together a sports carrier. I'll take you through what you get when you unpack it. If you get the ramp option, it comes in 3 boxes. So the first box has the bike channel in it. Second box has all the assembly parts, nuts and bolts. The third box will have the ramp with the brackets to store the ramp onto. So obviously that's your bike channel. This is your main bar that goes into the receiver. Nose cone stops the front tyre. These are your tie down bars. Front tie down bar has a bracket welded to it. Rear tie down bars, no bracket. Light kit, LEDs if you're in Australia, they're amber. US is all red. These are tyre slides, part of the nose cone. Light brackets, nose cone mounting brackets. This is the hardware. And let's start putting it together. So, grab the main bar that goes into your receiver. Put that in. When you unbox the bike channel, it'll have all the bolts in it where they need to go. So don't pull any bolts out to start with. When you go to put into the main bar, you need to pull out the 12 by 170s. Then grab the bike channel, sort of line up the holes, drop her in. All the bolts are grade 8 bolts. We run a washer both sides and use nylock nuts. So, let's have a washer and a nut on the back side. 3 of those go on. Probably next up you put the nose cone on that stops the front tyre. So you use these, they're called nose cone mounting brackets. There's 2 of those. Use the bolts, we'll just whack a few in to keep things moving. The long bolt goes at the back because you can't get your hand in there. Goes right through. Put them on, same washer and a nut, nylock nut. Then we use the shorter bolts at the front where you can get in to tighten them. Normally it'd be a washer on the inside, then a nut. Just spin the nut on to make it quicker. So there's 2 more bolts go each side there, they're in the kit. So normally you just nip that up so it's get it straight. Then we'll fit the nose cone. This is the piece that stops the front tyre. 3 bolts each side. We'll just put 4 in it. Today, but the bolts go in. There's washers to go on the inside. I'm just going to spin nuts on for now. Falls off, but normally you put a washer, then the nylock. 3 each side. When you nip that up, just pull it back, get it back so it's straight. Then you can fit the front tie down bar. This bar has a bracket welded to it. So, remove these bolts. Curve goes to the outside. You just do that for better ground clearance. Slides up underneath, bolt goes through. 2, same washers and nuts on the inside, nylocks. The rear tie down bar has no bracket, it bolts rear tie down bar. The bags have written on them what they're for. Bolts drop straight through the orange, through the bike channel, through the tube. You have a nut and a washer to put on underneath. Two of those. Right, you can pretty much go through and tighten that up now. These braces, they'll already be tight when the rack arrives. These bolts through here, you want to give them a bit of stick. They want to be, you want to crush the plates up, get that nice and tight. Just straighten the rack up as you do that. This front wheel holder, no, the front tie down, sorry. You can nip that a bit, doesn't need tons of torque on that. Same, these are all nylock, so you don't need to crank the living hell out of them. Just give them a nip, they're not going to come undone. And then we'll start with putting on the eye nuts to secure the bike. You've got here main bar. There's two tie down points each side of the bike. So on the outside, maybe put that facing up. Or you can put it on the side, whatever suits you. There's one on the side. The main reason I put one facing up is if you're using the hardware off your frame, just make sure you've got enough length so that when you clutch the bike up, you can clip something and then let the bike lay in. Whether you're clipping the peg, you're probably not on a sports bike, but tie downs there. Then a couple more on this side. There's no option to put an eye nut on top on this side because it's got 10mm plate welded inside the tube with 3/8 plate if you're in the US. What we want to do when you secure the bike, come off the frame, just try and get, or if you're using the pegs, come off 2 points. Like you want to get 1 point onto the pegs or 1 point onto the frame. With a Superbike, once you pull it down 10-15mm, the bike's rock solid, but you want a few backup straps. So that's what we have these other tie down bars for. So the tie down bars are in their own bag. Obviously it says tie down bars. You start bolting them through the tubes. Washer. This rear tie down bar is so you can run a tyre down. You've seen those, a harness that goes over the rear tyre. They're really effective. And then front tie down bar so you can run straps off the handles like a handlebar harness. Normally I only pull those down 3mm, 1/8 of an inch. They're just for double backup. These are, the handlebar harness is the easiest to put on the bike when you initially load it to make it safe so it won't fall over. Nip all of those up. Then each of these tubes have an end cap. Hammer them in. The main bar one's got a V in it to go around the bolt. Hammers in. There you hammer. Right, so you lock those up. Then actually we'll probably do the light kit. So with the light kit you've got large bracket, small bracket, large bolt, small bolt. The large bracket goes up the front tyre end of the, that's where you can put an accessory number plate. So it's an M8 by 200 set screw, goes right through the rack. washer, spring washer nut. I'll actually tighten these because I'll show you how the lights bolt on, so that gets nipped up. The smaller bolt goes in the back of the bike channel here. Give that a nip. Right, then there's 4 nuts, 4 washers. So first thing to do is just spin a nut on. $20 washer, light bracket, washer and nylock. Just get her up the right way. Just nip that on. The reason we bolt these on, especially for the rear, is when you go to load a bike, especially a low clearance bike, you can just roll the light down out of the way. Then when you've loaded the bike, you can roll it back up. Washer and nylock. Get that straight. Right, with your light kit, whether it's the Australian or the US one, if you look underneath them, one side's got a number plate light. So obviously that goes on the front tyre end. Put the orange indicators go to the top. Right, then I just get the light cable, drop it through the slot in the bike channel here. Keep the join pretty close to the top there. There's a plate, you can feed it all through the hole in the plate. So, pull that out there, gives you the length, and then got our chassis ties. So there's 2 holes that are close together in the center above the slot, so one goes onto each. The chassis tie goes in from the front, around the cable, back through. Initially, don't pull them super tight, just get it laid out. Just pull the cable along as you go. There'll be a bit of slack left. We just tuck that in behind the light bracket. This light, you might tilt it down to put the cable around. Right, when you get it laid out, then you can sort of go along, pull it tight, tighten them as you go. On the rear here is the same, head that way. Then we supply some just standard zip ties. There's slots in the cable here. In the channel, you might put the cable underneath. Zip tie that out of the way underneath. Same as a couple more zip ties put in there and there. These pieces I call them tyre slides. On the website pictures they're orange, but we're doing them black now. They fit into the nose cone here and they're adjustable, so you set them tight to your tyre. By setting them tight, like if you're running a 120 front, when you initially fit them, just measure between them, maybe set them to 115. You want it so that when you run your bike in, the tyre will jam in here and you'll be able to let go of the bike while you strap it. So these might need a little bit of a adjustment as you go. Sometimes even if you don't set them beforehand, you can put the bike on, put a couple of straps on it, then just push these up to the tyre and just nip them. And then when you take the bike off, move them in another couple of mil each side. So next time when you run the bike on, it will jam in there and you can let go of the bike. There's videos of me loading the bike showing that. And next up we'll do the shim plates and anti-tilt bracket. This is when you fit into the vehicle. I'm doing this because some customers buy a ramp, some don't. If you have a ramp that works, then you don't need our ramp. These shim plates, they're two different thicknesses because all receivers are slightly different thickness. Obviously the ones with the slot in it are for the pin to go through. They won't fit in this tube, we've got Velcro in there, but you push that in, then you put your pin in, then you can usually fit one on the bottom. So you just get it ready, lift the outside of the rack, push that in with your thumb. Then we have this bracket called an anti-tilt bracket. If your receiver has a plastic surround, say Nissan or Toyota or something, you just need to rip that off. Basically the bolt goes through the tube. The welded tab has to press on the bike rack. Presses on there, and then that slides over the side of your receiver. When you tighten it up between this and the shim plates, it'll lock the rack up rock solid. So next we'll go on to, if you get our loading ramp, it comes with brackets, some bolts and straps. So the brackets are two different sizes, only in the tab there. So the smaller bracket is for the smaller tube of the tie-down bar. The bigger bracket is for the front tie-down bar. They're the straps. We have a big washer we use to go through the slot. They're slotted so you can use adjustment. Actually, you've got that wrong. There's two different length bolts, obviously. So the longer bolt is for the slotted tube. That fits through there. Then the 40 mil onto there, and then if you get the ramp, you'll find when the bike's on, there's actually not a lot of room, so the ramp is made, you grab the foot end and you can slide it through beside the bike. And then we have a strap each side where you just, you start the straps from this side, they'll stay there when you take the ramp on and off. You just strap it each side, strap and strap. Because the ramp's curved, which the reason it's curved, with low clearance bikes you need to get the back wheel up quick. But because the ramp is curved, when you strap it, it can't slide either way. So this ramp needs to go forward a bit more. It'll end up storing where the foot piece is in line with the nose cone. Strap each side. You're good to go.